what do you think the Millennial Dream means for our province? And what do you think the Millennial Newfoundland Labrador Dream?
In terms of demographics and the aging of our population and the young people leaving, and it's really at a critical, extremely critical point. And so I think, you know, one of the answers would certainly be the whole culture of entrepreneurship and the necessity of encouraging that, and the importance of collaboration and working together. And you know, we'll never solve the same old problems using the same old solutions, but that does seem to be kind of what we're seeing.
I think Newfoundland can probably relate to this issue that we have in New Brunswick, which is an addiction to negative storytelling. Now, I don't know what your media is like, but our media in New Brunswick is, whether it's Brunswick News or CBC, CTV, whatever it is, they're all doing great work in journalism, but they're uncovering most of the stories that are frankly boring to hear now. We understand that our economy sucks. We understand that the aging demographic's going to kill us, all this stuff. We know that already, quote unquote, just saying it as a joke. But what the popular media is not doing is telling the great stories of the car shares, of the social enterprises, of the TED Talks, St. John's. These are all more social media properties of storytelling. I guess I'm in the media business myself, so I've got a passion for always telling the other, even if it's a minor side of the story, about being more of the positive, optimistic side. Not being naive about the challenges, but really highlighting the good stuff that's going on, because it's really going to be the storytelling that's going to support and inspire each of us.
Everyone's saying one disconnect, I think, that's here right now that we need to start confronting in terms of the kind of attitudes and things that the people in this room up front are involved in and the rest of the world, is figuring out what we do about politics. So, like, I have these conversations amongst my friends, my colleagues. I have that lots of really radical ideas come up with. Sometimes we yell at each other, but there's certainly a pretty wide range of ideas about, you know, what are we going to do about the future of our community. And though that breadth of discussion doesn't get out into the political sphere.
I have another question. We've been talking about a millennial generation, but I'd like to know your thoughts on the part that's to be played by Generation X and the baby boomers.
We made this film for Gen X and baby boomers, because the millennials in this room are going to watch this and you're like, yeah, tell me something I don't know already. This was intended for a very conservative yet very open demographic in New Brunswick of decision makers, business leaders who really want to see change but have no clue how to deal with this millennial generation coming into their workforce. No clue how to deal with all the questioning that is coming up to management from these new employees. Don't understand any of this stuff. So what I'm seeing is, out of all the screenings we've done between here and New York and California and all through Canada, it's the Gen X and the baby boomers who have been most engaged in these dialogues, and they really care. I mean, I just think about in the 60s, what the baby boomers, they pretty much built the foundation for this, with so much of the social enterprise work that they started and all the activism, and then, you know, that was right around the time when the American dream started to derail, and there's a big cohort of them that got sucked back into that, but now we are all standing on the shoulders.
But ultimately we have a responsibility, as you say, to stand on the shoulders of the giants who've gotten us this far, to help untangle knots and create new discussions about new problems we can solve.
I think really the biggest thing that other generations can do to really begin to improve that and wrap their heads around something that maybe they don't understand is just to listen.
Yes.
We know what we want. We know what helps us really make a difference and improve things, and we know what works for us. So even just listening or asking or creating an environment that kind of facilitates that creative thinking and that critical thinking and that impact is ultimately what makes the difference and what lets us use our abilities and talents whatever else to make a difference for you and to add value to your company, your organization.
For fun, no matter what generation you're in, but I'm wondering if you have seen in your experience or in your filmmaking, or any of you on the panel, a shift from being fired being the worst thing in the world or very, very shameful to something more layered or different for the millennial generation.
I absolutely hate firing people. And thankfully, I haven't fired a lot. And I don't even like using that word, fire, but it's more of transitioning them out of the organization. The neat thing about what I found about my company is they're mostly millennials. And this company of mine has been around for eight years now. And a lot of them I pulled right out of either high school, university, or college. Really interesting, just out of co-op programs. I'm like, you have no idea what you're doing, but I'm going to train you to become better than me really quick. So I ended up being, in a lot of cases, their school. And so I've been able to retain my best talent who have been with me right from the beginning.
Let me have you sit down with our contract HR company so that you can have a wicked hour of discussion with her about what it is that you think, what you feel, things that we can help you, the ecosystem of clients that we have, which might be a perfect fit for you, because there's maybe one type of business all day instead of representing multiple interests as an agency typically does. These are the progressive things that I'm proud to be able to say that we're able to do for the people who don't fit the values and the culture of our company. And I've, to the point that I am now as a leader. So it takes both sides, but yeah, it's never easy, but as long as you make people feel like it was their idea, that's a Dale Carnegieism all over again. Appeal to a nobler motive and all these things. A little golden book is never far from my pocket, I'll tell you. And those are the things that ultimately guide success. Yeah, it's in there right now. But yeah, no, it's never easy though. That's the bottom line.
The biggest disconnects, or one of the areas where we see the biggest disconnect between the millennials and other generations is in the post-secondary environment between the two groups. So what can post-secondary institutions, so like universities and other post-secondary institutions do to bridge that gap between the generations and better prepare millennials for this new, I guess, business environment and new societal values?
So well, and to paraphrase, I wish someone had sat me down day one of my sociology 1000 class or whatever it was I did in my first year that I can't even remember because my Munch transcript reads like a Stephen King novel, I always say. Before I went to the college circuit, which every course you're doing is surrounded by the same people because you're working towards the same tangible technician-based goals. That was, as a graphic designer and a web developer, that was my foray from walking these halls being like, what is up? I wish someone had said, day one, do you know why you're here? Are you interested in what it is I'm going to spend the next few months teaching you? If the answer is no, you really need to go talk to someone about why it is that you got your parents to pay all that money so you can drive their car here and show up 50 minutes late. You know what I mean? Like, those are the questions that should be asked by the people in front of the classrooms that we view as leaders at these impressionable ages that are still not getting asked.
You need this sort of externally imposed structure, but giving people a chance to work out early on if there are things that they care about that they can make progress on through their education, I think is something that we can build more infrastructure to get done. I wish I'd had that conversation in my undergrad, not wasted my time, to be honest with you. Because I wasted my time on lots of stuff, and then I got a bit wise to it and was able to start picking out things that were a little bit more focused on what I was doing outside of school. But like if there had been some of that guidance earlier on, I would have been a lot happier person.
And social enterprise and the MBA programs, business schools, most of them are all focused on leadership, and leadership is an absolutely beautiful term. But I'm hearing in all of the things you spoke about in the film is a term that I would like to call teamship. Is teamship, because not everybody can be a leader, and guess what? You cannot be a leader unless you have wrapped around you a team. So while somebody create the marketing strategy to put something out there, if I don't have someone creating that hydroponic concept that takes traction in a global world stage. So just I'd like your comments on teamship versus leadership.
Really, but I legitimately am seeing, again, this more ground-up leadership structure where not one person is leading, but multiple people are leading in different areas of strength in different projects, and it's really the shared support system, and it's exciting. What I'm seeing.
I mean, I think part of that is spending a bit more time being a bit more intentional about teaching and learning decision-making skills. So this is not something, it works a lot differently if you're trying to have these kind of flat structures, right? I think that decision-making is the biggest point of generational conflict that I'm ever around, right? Just in terms of whether we want to be trying to come to sort of flat management consensus on what to do moving forward, whether someone just puts their foot down and says, no, we're doing this. That's where I think the disconnect is often is. And so like, I love not having to lead stuff. I gotta say, like, it's really satisfying to be a contributing member of a team in which there is like ownership, but you're not the sort of face of it. But getting there in terms of like the functional ability to manage those things